Hello there, and welcome to this course, Practicing CI/CD with AWS CodePipeline. My name is Ryan Lewis, and I've been using CodePipeline for several years to build and deploy applications in my role as a cloud engineer. If you're watching this course, you're either considering CodePipeline for your CI/CD needs, or maybe you're just curious what the service is and how it works. Well, either way, this course is for you. To walk you through all the features and uses of CodePipeline, I'm going to use an example scenario that could be similar to your own. Emma is a software engineer working in a small team at Hamster Ball Fantasy League. Her team has been tasked with launching a new cutting-edge web experience for the HBFL web application. Unfortunately, they recently had several team members leave, and so there's more work than there are engineers. One area the team is struggling in is getting their code out into production. They currently have a laborious manual process to deploy that application. Emma's been doing some research on this and has presented the idea of using continuous integration and continuous deployment to automate this. The team is all for it and has left it up to Emma to set this up for the team. Her team is already using AWS, so using CodePipeline for CI/CD seems like a great candidate. CodePipeline is one of AWS's developer tools that acts as the glue and processor for other AWS services. It uses code commit or another external source control to pull in source code and trigger a pipeline execution. Code build is used to run code, build software, and do basically anything else you need to do in your pipeline. It'll usually end up being one of the most essential pieces in your CI/CD process. At any point in your pipeline, you can trigger Lambda functions to run, expanding the possibilities for what you can do with that pipeline. And finally, there are numerous deployment services that work with CodePipeline, such as Code Deploy, Elastic Beanstalk, ECS, and Fargate. The many integrations that CodePipeline provides ensures that any scenario you need can be accomplished. Emma doesn't want to arbitrarily pick CodePipeline for the team's CI/CD tools, so she did some research into other competitors in the space, such as Circle CI and Travis CI. Let's take a look at how they compared to CodePipeline. Circle CI and Travis CI are very similar to CodePipeline in that they provide automated continuous integration services. You can define a workflow in a file, and that workflow will run when triggered, often from a change to source control. Circle CI and Travis CI aren't tied down to any one cloud provider, or even a cloud provider at all, so they can work with AWS or without AWS. Through the robust and flexible AWS API, Circle CI and Travis CI can interact with resources in AWS, but it would have to be manually configured and written. Emma's been working in AWS for some time, and the team is much more familiar with how AWS works. In addition, CodePipeline only costs $1 per pipeline, excluding any processing time with code build or storage in S3. She decides the extra time of setting up an external CI service, learning how it works, and onboarding the team wouldn't really be worth it. So she shares her research with the team, and they all agree to go with CodePipeline for their CI/CD needs. Now that CodePipeline has been selected, let's take a quick look at what we'll be covering in this course. In this module, we'll be focusing on the basics of working with CodePipeline. We'll start by building a pipeline out with the AWS console. Then we'll add stages to it and see how running tests and manual approvals work. Finally, we'll build out the same pipeline with CloudFormation so we can ensure our pipelines are reproducible in the future. In the next module, we'll focus on more advanced CodePipeline techniques, such as arbitrary Lambda invocations, stage transitions, monitoring, and notifications. Now let's get started doing CI/CD with CodePipeline.